It is a beautiful day here in Virginia as the drivers of the USF Juniors program, brought to you by Cooper Tires, getting set to roll off the grid here at the Virginia International Raceway for qualifying for what will be a triple header at this iconic racetrack. Hello, folks. My name is Rob Howden. Great to be here at VIR, and I'll tell you this, it is a warm one today. 85 degrees right now is the ambient temperature. Beautiful blue skies, but there is a potential threat of rain later on in the day. Now, just 40%, but things could get quite interesting if indeed those clouds do roll in to give us some wet weather racing to start off this triple header weekend. Again, this is rounds 6, 7, and 8 of this year's 2023 USF Juniors program, the first rung on the USF Pro Championship presented by Cooper Tires. We have a great grid of 14 young drivers, an international field to be certain, anywhere from 13 to about 19 years of age, the spread of the drivers in this program. We have 4 different teams here as well: VRD Racing, D-Force Racing, DC Autosport, and Exclusive Autosport, all lining up. And as you see the drivers rolling off, sticker Cooper Tires on the machines as they get set to roll out for this qualifying run. 30-minute window, but we will go a max 20 minutes of green flag time. A little bit of gamesmanship, as you can see, being played already. 2 drivers have headed out to the racetrack. Young Hudson Schwartz, who has gone out first for VRD Racing. We've also seen the car of Carson Etter, number 57. I believe there goes the number 93 of Giovanni Cabrera, the young Florida driver for Exclusive Autosport. He'll roll out. He's been finding speed throughout the test day yesterday and through the morning practice session as well. Everybody kind of just waiting on pit lane, and it's interesting. I would expect they're going to play the games to try to potentially get behind the 2 quickest drivers we've seen so far here these last couple of days, and that has been Jack Jeffers and Joey Brienza from Exclusive Autosport. They have been very quick, and no doubt everybody would like to kind of get behind them, and I would expect that Exclusive Autosport, no hurry to get onto the racetrack as well. But remember, this is a long track. We're looking just under 2 minutes to get around here in this USF Juniors Tatis JR23 spec car. So, again, you need to get the job done. A mid-session red flag could most certainly mess up everybody's qualifying run. 3 drivers have taken to the racetrack, as I said. I do have a guest joining me here in the PA booth today. We'll bring him in here in a little bit. Not quite yet, but one of our Skip Barber Racing School Formula Car Series drivers will join us here as well. Caleb Gaffera, who qualified 3rd for race number 1 today. Caleb, a young kart racer who has worked his way up through the ranks, top national karter, and really the most successful junior national level karter of 2022, doing some senior racing this year, but the primary focus here on the Skip Barber Formula Car Series, which is joining us here this weekend for the first time. The Skip Barber Racing School, which is the official racing school of the USF Pro Championships, has their Formula Car Series with us, and here comes the number 91 of Joey Brienza. Expect some cars to follow up behind he and Jack Jeffers, and there's Eric Schouten as well, the Brazilian, and not surprisingly, here come the D-Force drivers too. So, indeed, they were waiting, but they could only wait so long as they're now getting things underway, those drivers coming onto the track. Here's the key now: if you've waited as they have, you better not impede any of the drivers currently on flyers, as Schouten will go around the outside of both Brienza and Jeffers. Now, again, the key is to get these tires up to temperature. It is warm, as I said, 85 degrees trackside, but you're still potentially going to have these cars being slipping and sliding around, so drivers have to be smart. A couple other drivers coming from deeper in the field. You can see how they're trying to line up. Just like I said, 2 of the D-Force drivers trying to line up behind Jack Jeffers and Joey Brienza. One of the drivers who was up top of the top 5 for a majority of yesterday as well is our point leader, Nicholas Giaffoni. Nicholas having an issue on the final lap of practice, going off at Oak Tree, turns number 11 and 12, got into the grass a little bit, went off and severely damaged the left side of the race car, the left front. D-Force crew immediately getting that turned around, about 90-minute turnaround time between practice and this qualifying run. Our race set to go this afternoon, green flag at 4:10. Of course, that'll all be live here on the USF Pro Championships app or the YouTube channel. But again, drivers just starting to get out here. 16 minutes remaining. So again, this kind of gamesmanship we're seeing, this cat and mouse back and forth, everybody trying to line up behind Jack Jeffers, is going to put the pressure on these drivers to lay down a perfect lap. Just getting things underway, so let's bring in our guest who will join us here. Again, Caleb Gaffera, as I said, running in the Skip Barber Formula Car Series, obviously with a focus on trying to get into the USF Juniors potentially next year. $100,000 scholarship, Caleb, up for grabs for the championship. You're racing against the guy that you've raced against before, Sebastian Weldon in karting. Let's just start. How did today go? You had a qualifying session, P3. You've been kind of moving your way up over the last couple of races. Give me a little synopsis of how things have gone so far.
So this weekend it started off pretty good. Yesterday we were P3 in both, and quali we were P4, and then one of the other guys, he went off track. So unfortunate, but that's what happens sometimes. But so it's been going really well. I just hope that it'll be a good day today in the race. I'd really like a podium this weekend. Been wanting one for a while now, so hope we can get that this weekend. And
you're definitely used to it. Obviously, you won a lot of races last year, 22 or 23 national-level karting events last year, running with the Rawlins Performance Group in a number of different organizations, Superkarts USA, Rock Cup USA, USPKS. For those of you who may have followed these USF Juniors, you're probably very familiar with some of the major national event series. Let me ask you this question. I know a lot of people that will be tuning in want to hear this because they potentially could be karters looking to come into the program. The transition between karting and the Skip Barber Racing School. There's a little bit of contact in karting. We frown upon it, but it happens. You're not allowed any contact at all in Skip Barber. You really have to be self-aware of the car itself. How's the transition been from karting into the cars?
First getting into it, it was pretty rough. I mean, it's not terribly hard, but it can be. If you don't have any karting experience, it's definitely going to be a lot harder. Since I've been karting for 10 years now, it was bit easier, I'd say. Most of the racecraft and stuff I developed over the years, that helps a lot. And I've always been just wanting to race. I've never really liked just doing laps, so I always like the racing aspect of it more. But it's been so far really good.
I think one of the things a lot of drivers have to get a feel for, because in karting we use the brakes in a certain way. It's a much different braking approach in cars, that hard hit at the start and rolling off the brakes to get through the corners. Is that something you had to kind of get a feel for?
Yeah, I had to work on my leg muscle a lot more. It's like in karting, you just do a little lockup, slow the car down, pretty easy on the brakes. In this, you really got to stomp on it.
That was one thing when I ran the Supernats last year. The guys were really pushing me to really use the front tires to do a lot of the slowing down. When you get into a corner, really rolling on it, like you said, not here in a car. You're really hard. You want to drop that front end down to get the weight transfer forward. Do you feel like you have a handle on it now?
Yeah, I've gotten to it now. I can brake pretty late. I can still stomp on it pretty hard. So I'd say it's pretty good.
Back into the gym?
Yeah, all the time.
More squats?
Oh, yeah, all the time.
Caleb Gaffera, one of the top drivers in the Skip Barber Formula Car Series, joining us, and we'll talk more with him throughout this session. We'll come back in a second and ask a little bit about the track conditions. But again, the Skip Barber Racing School, as I said, the official racing school of this USF Pro Championship, is presented by Cooper Tires. $100,000 up for grabs for the champion of the Formula Car Series this year to move to USF Juniors next year. So really, that's the first step out of karting into Skip Barber. You do your 3-day school, the 2-day advanced lapping, and then you get into the Formula Car Series, which gives you so much wheel-to-wheel time. And I love the fact contact not allowed at all. You can't, if you go 2 wheels off, you got to bring it into pit lane. It's all about development, all about being focused on getting the most out of the car, but staying on the racetrack and having good runs. As one driver has gone off, not quite sure. That might be Cabrera or Schouten. I think that may be one of the drivers from Exclusive has gone off, and I think that's coming through turn number 5. And that's really a crucial part of this racetrack. And we'll come back to Caleb. We talked about this. So, yeah, you think about the long back straightaway, right, from 5 all the way up through the Snake. It's kind of a winding area all the way back up to Oak Tree. But really the key to getting into Oak Tree, maybe even making the pass in 14, is getting a good run out of turn 5. You can close up to the guy in front when you get down to that right-hand hairpin.
Yeah, turn 5 and 4 are really technical. You really got to get a good run out of there all the way to 10 and it's 11 and 12. 11 and 12 are you really have to be perfect through there to get a good run down the back straight.
One of the things, folks, if you've ever, I don't know if you've been on iRacing before, you've watched VIR races on TV. Of course, there's lots of IMSA events that are there. We have the coverage of our events here for the USF Juniors. When you come down through turn number 9 and 10, and it's literally, I did the track walk yesterday, it is to walk up to turn 11 and 12. You don't realize the elevation change coming up into that corner.
Yeah, it is a big change. Like when I walked the track, I was like shocked because I was in the car. It doesn't feel that big at all. It feels pretty flat, but when you walk it, it's a mountain that feels like.
Jack Jeffers up top. Let's have a look here as we're closing in the halfway point of this session. You see the drivers using all of the exit coming out of turn number 3. This is that turn 4 segment we talked about, a little short out of 4. And this is where you have to be crucial. Coming through turn number 5 right there, you're rolling back on the throttle, and really you're flat out all the way through the snake there, under the Michelin bridge that we'll see as we come through here as well. All the way down this long back straightaway. Then there's another area where the S's, you're rolling through your left, right, left. You've really got to carry the speed through there as you work your way back over to turn number 10, which is more of a downhill left-hander leading into the corner. Jack Jeffers up top, almost a half a second for Jeffers in the number 92, the driver out of San Antonio, Texas. Tremendous run thus far, looking for his first USF Juniors win for Exclusive Autosport, a 155.348. Right at the halfway point, 10 minutes down, 10 minutes to go in this qualifying session. His teammate Joey Brienza right there with him. They've been kind of 1-2 throughout the entire last couple of days. Brienza about a half a second back, a winner earlier this year at Sebring. So Brienza's already got his first win. In fact, comes in here second place in points, just 21 markers behind Nicholas Giaffoni. Ethan Barker, who joined us here last year in the Ligier program when we started USF Juniors with the Ligier car last year. Of course, this season, the brand new Tatis JR23, which is, of course, very similar to the USF 2000 car that we run. Barker came in to come and run with VRD Racing. It was actually his own team, Barker Racing, last year. They joined VRD in the offseason. Been great for Ethan, and Ethan's a great story. Not only does he run the F4, rather the F4 last year than the USF Juniors this year, he's also done a ton, or is doing a ton, of oval racing, an open wheel modified car and a late model stock car as well. So he's really playing with a bunch of different disciplines. He's done some, I believe, some Spec Miata racing as well. Great to have Ethan here, and he's really kind of dialing things in. Currently P5. As Quinn Armstrong, the Australian, has worked his way up to 4th, and Ethan Ho out of Los Angeles has worked his way into 2nd. Spinner coming out of turn number 3 as well. One of the D-Force cars has gone around. See if he's able to refire that machine. I expect he would be able to. No contact coming out of that corner. So ideally, indeed, there, lights back up, and we're back under it. But here comes a gaggle of cars. 4 or 5 cars going to roll up. Hopefully they'll get through 5 and cleanly through to not hold anybody up. Indeed, he's going to come through the snake there cleanly. And that is Jeffers actually leading the group. So as I had said, everybody trying to get behind Jeffers to see if they can't benefit in it. I think that might be Brienza behind him. Could be his teammate right there. Jeffers still on top, 155.348. Let's have a look at a full field rundown as we now have 8 minutes remaining. Jeffers P1 by now only 0.3 from Ethan Ho, the driver for DC Autosport. More dust coming through the corner there. That's back over in, I believe, turn number 10. Yeah, I think that's turn 10 and over into, yeah, you can see them coming now through Oak Tree. That's the 10 over into the 11-12 complex. Back onto the back straightaway. So Jeffers leads, Ho second for DC Autosport. Joey Brienza in third. Quinn Armstrong fourth. Fifth is Ethan Barker. Sixth is Hutchin Schwartz. Just 13 years of age for VRD Racing. Schwartz right behind Barker. VRD teammate Jimmy Lockhart was a podium finisher at Barber Motorsports Park in 7th. Brady Golan 8th. 9th is Lucas Facuri. 10th spot is actually Facuri 10th, Carson Eder 11th, as Ethan Ho's now gone to P1. Quickest driver on the racetrack right there, the 68 of Ethan Ho. Good run for Ethan. 155.237, just 0.02 of a second ahead of Jack Jeffers. So there's your quick driver right now. Provisional pole, 7 minutes to go. And I believe that is Jeffers and Brienza right up in front of him, I think. So there's an opportunity. He's going to try to get that draft. They'll work their way out of turn number 1. The 2-3 combo. Jeffers in that metallic raspberry Corpay sponsored car for Exclusive Autosport. Same livery as you'll see on Joel Grenforce, the Indianapolis road course winner for Exclusive and in the USF Pro 2000 class. Brienza right behind him. Ho next up. And then it's, I believe, one of the other exclusive cars. I think that might be Eric Schouten. 4th in line there. Eric currently in 7th. In fact, he just turned his fastest lap, so likely benefiting a little bit using Ethan Ho as the marker. And I'll tell you this, Caleb, obviously you understand this. You were kind of in Jack Jeffers' position last year in qualifying and karting. You would go to qualify. People would line up behind you because they knew you were the kind of the guy to beat at a lot of the races. What does that do mentally for you? What can you do? Can you slow up midway through a lap, blow a lap to let the guys go by? It's got to be tough knowing that everybody's trying to essentially take their cues off of you.
At the beginning of the year, it was kind of back and forth. I would try to follow some people. Then other times, it was just like, well, I can't really do much about it. They're just going to have to follow me. It ended up at Newcastle last year that I just stopped on the racetrack and just pulled over to the side and stopped and let everybody go by.
Red flag flying here, folks. So there's been an issue on the racetrack. We got 14 minutes in. As I said, it's a 30-minute window and 20 minutes of max green flag. If we go 20 minutes straight, we will end the session early. We have now 14 minutes in, so still 6 minutes to go. The driver's gone off the racetrack, and I'm looking around the cameras that we have available, and I can't see, at least in the cameras I have, where anybody would be off the racetrack. With the red flag, everybody will report back to pit lane, and we'll have a look as they come in. We'll see if we get everybody back here to try to potentially do just the process of elimination to find out who it is who hasn't worked their way back. So, again, right now, Jack Jeffers, who pulls the number 92 into pit lane, he is provisionally in the second spot behind Ethan Ho. Driver who has brought out the red flag will lose their fastest lap. And, again, very crucial knowing that the fast lap sets the grid for race number 1. Your second fast lap are provisionally the laps that you will use for race 2 and 3. If you go quicker in race number 1 than your second fastest qualifying lap, you could use that to set your grid spot for race number 2 and vice versa for 2 and 3. What do we got coming down here right now? Believe potentially just 3 of the D-Force cars down here. So would it be potentially one of the D-Force drivers who has gone off? Trying to figure out which drivers we have down here now. You see the wrecker heading out. I believe we saw the 16 of Armstrong, the 18 of Golan, and is that the 19 right there as well of Giafoni? So I wonder whether or not if it could be potentially Lucas Facuri, who's off the racetrack. And as I said, wherever they are in a blind spot for the camera coverage that we have at the track here at VIR this weekend. So Ethan Ho on top, as I said. Let's go through it one more time. A 155.327 for Ethan Ho. Jack Jeffers back by just 21 thousandths of a second. Joey Brienza in third, half a second or 4/10 back. Then it's Nicholas Giafoni, your point leader, in fourth. Quinn Armstrong fifth. Ethan Barker sixth. Eric Schouten in seventh. Hudson Schwartz in eighth. Jimmy Lockhart ninth, and Brady Golem rounds out the top 10. Lucas Facuri in 11th. 12th is Carson Eder, less than 2 seconds back. Max Taylor is in 13th, and Giovanni Cabrera is in the 14th spot. So there you have it there. The driver we've lost. The camera is what normally used for 15 and 16, so likely coming through 15 over to 16, the driver's gone off the racetrack there. So ideally, we'll get a chance to see a wing pop up for us, but I'm going to say it's potentially Lucas Facuri. So still time clicking away in the session, but 6 minutes to go if they're able to get this cleaned up quickly. And one of the things we have here, of course, with the USF Pro Championships, one of the beauties of the USF Juniors program is on an IndyCar weekend with the USF Pro Championships, the 2000 and Pro 2000 categories, we're, of course, able to work, as we always do, with the AMR IndyCar safety crew. Well, on these USF Juniors weekends, to raise the bar and to make sure our cleanups are a lot quicker, we bring 3 of those AMR safety crew guys in with us. One of them will be in race control to kind of quarterback and work with the local track crews, which are very good here at VIR. But the opportunity to have guys who know our race cars, know how to handle things. They have one each with the service crew out there. So they're kind of the quarterbacks on scene. And it's been really good for us to get any incident we've had cleared up quickly. Because in the end, the focus of this program is to make sure these drivers get green flag laps. We want as much green flag racing as possible. It has paid off hugely. Did last year in our first year of USF Juniors, and even more this year. We have just 1 yellow flag in 5 races thus far. So 4 of our 5 races, green to checker, and really just one of the I believe it was the first race at Barber, where we had a little contact on the opening lap coming up to turn number 2, entering into the Alabama roller coaster. One driver went around, and it was a very quick cleanup, back to green flag racing quickly. So Again, we've been able to deliver on what we focus on with this program, driver development and lots of green flag racing. And indeed, that is going to be one of the D-Force cars, and I think it's number 17, Lucas Facuri. We'll get a better look. Rear wing knocked off of that machine. And you can see the damage to the left rear. Maybe looped it under braking, backed it potentially into the tire barrier there. So the D-Force crew got to go to work. Now they do have some time. We're back on track. Green flag at 4:10 this afternoon, but they'll be tearing that car apart. They already had to go to work on Giafoni's car after the wreck at the end of practice. While they were getting the green flag at practice, Giafoni continued to press and went off. So again, the crew doing a great job here. 6 minutes still remaining of green flag. And again, it's all about being able to fit it into the 30-minute window. So I think we could be decent here still. Essentially gives us 10 minutes of cleanup time. Crew coming up the straightaway. They'll tuck into the driver's right after they get the start-finish. And indeed, Lucas Facuri's machine off on the hook. Engines have already fired back on pit lane. As soon as these guys are able to, the safety crew is able to pull back across into the paddock area, we'll be back at it. 6 minutes and 10 seconds remaining of green flag. So at 1:55, put the first lap at, a little over 2 minutes as they get those tires back up to temp. Maybe 2 laps. Can anybody put a flyer down? I will say this. Cars are as light as they possibly can be at this point. The fuel continues to drain out and get used up. So, Caleb Gaffaro, let's come back to you. You guys just had your qualifying run. I think you guys went without a yellow, I believe, in your session. Was it clean? How did you feel? Did the car get better near the end?
Yeah, it was. We were first session on track, so it was a bit dirty in the first couple of laps, but everyone there did their fastest lap last lap. It was a good quali. Wish I would add a little bit of draft. I was just kind of out by myself, but it was nice to get 1 lap on the track.
You guys run the MyGale F4 car. That's the car used by the Skip Barber program. You're on the Goodyear tires. We're on the Cooper tires. It's the same company now as Goodyear has purchased the Cooper tire program. Let's talk a little bit about that draft. How big was it with your cars? Is it a crucial thing here, the draft?
It is a good bit. I would say it's I don't know how much exactly, but it's definitely a good bit.
A couple of tenths, maybe?
Yeah, it's like 3-4 tenths.
There you go. The track itself, you said it was a bit dirty when you guys rolled out there. Oftentimes happen when you're the first class on the racetrack. Any significant change grip level-wise from yesterday to today? Obviously, the temperature warming up a little bit. It was a lot cooler yesterday morning than it was this morning.
It wasn't terrible. I mean, the track still felt pretty good like yesterday, but it was definitely a bit colder.
There it is. So back at it. Again, as we said, folks, the time winding down again. We're into about 5 minutes remaining in the session. Again, this lap will be all about drivers gapping themselves a little bit, potentially finding a driver to draft with if they're able to keep up with someone. They're onto the racetrack. That's Jack Jeffers. We're going to use this camera quite a bit throughout the weekend, the drone that we'll have over top of what was Oak Tree. There used to be an iconic tree right on the kind of inside of turn number 12 there. That tree ended up being lost, I believe, in a storm. A lightning hit, I think maybe it was. At least a storm knocked it down. So we'll still call it Oak Tree, even though the visibility, obviously, through that corner much different than it used to be. But it's a crucial corner on this track, getting yourself through turn number 11 and 12 to get on the back straightaway. Because, Caleb, but listen, let's be real. You're probably going to be using that when you go racing this afternoon in the Skip Barber race. You got to get out of that corner. It's a big draft all the way up to the next set of corners, turn number 13, 14, and 15.
Yeah, so it's very technical. You got to get through there. Make sure you just that is a corner. If you go off, you are most likely in the wall. So you just got to keep it down the track. As long as you make it through, you'll have a great draft on that whole straight.
Draft is going to play a role, no doubt, here as well. We expect to be 2-3 wide down into 14 in the 3 races that we have this weekend for the USF Juniors program. Races number 6, 7, and 8 on the season. Lots of racing still to go before we see who walks away with a $100,000 scholarship, rather the $221,000 scholarship. It's the Skip Barber drivers running for $100,000, but over $220 for USF Juniors. Lots of racing still to come from here. We look at an event at Mid-Ohio in the second weekend of July. We head to Road America in August, and we'll cap all things off at the end of August for USF Juniors alongside the USF Pro 2000 category at the Circuit of the Americas 1 week before Labor Day weekend. We'll find out which driver is on his way in terms of the grid we have this year to USF 2000 in 2024. Now, I want to see if anybody's got the ability to throw a flyer in here with 2 laps to go. Not the easiest thing to do, to come back out on track after a stop like this. You don't really have a lot of time to get back into the rhythm. You've really got to get it done quickly. There's about 3 minutes remaining in the session. They're going to get this lap in the books, maybe 2 more if they're lucky, but you can see the 3-driver run all the way up the straightaway, a long run all the way up to turn number 14. The draft, massive, as Caleb had said. We'll see a lot of the action there coming up to that part of the racetrack. Ethan Hoa, 155.327. That is your provisional pole time. And again, Jeffers just 0.02 of a second back, but he has been the driver to beat. I believe that might be Eric Schouten right in there. I think that's all 3 of the exclusive cars right there, and that would be Jeffers, Brienza, and Schouten. So they're trying to see if they can't help Eric and bring him on a little bit. He has improved significantly. Was kind of back there in like 9th to 11th, that kind of a thing, 9th to 12th at the start of the season. He's getting more comfortable being here in the U.S. from Brazil. Again, just 15 years of age, here by himself with the race team. Went down for a couple of weeks in Brazil to see the family and came back. Can he get the big toe from the boys here, working their way back up? There's Ethan Hoa on the inside in that white TC Autosport, number 68, the driver from Los Angeles, California. At Sebring, the first race of the season, they literally ran this car in USF Juniors trim on Thursday and Friday. The team converted it to a USF 2000 car for those events on Saturday and Sunday. And that's one of the really key programs. If you're investing in a car in the Junior Formula program and you buy a USF Juniors car, you can get a conversion kit then that moves it up to USF 2000. It's the same tub, the same tires, the same bodywork, the same engine. We put a restrictor in it for USF Juniors, remap the ECU. But you're able to use the same car in Juniors and 2000. In fact, the tub is the same tub used in the Pro 2000 category as well. Everything else different, bodywork, shocks is different. But the only real differences between the Juniors car and the 2000 car is the uprights, the brake system, the dampers, and the wheels. And really, that's about it. Ends up being about 3 or 4 seconds slower at a track like Road America. Exactly a perfect jump out of the Skip Barber program into Juniors before making your way up to USF 2000. This will be the lap that's going to happen, folks. 45 seconds remaining. They may be able to scoot through for one more. Ho, Jeffers, Brienza, Giafoni, and Armstrong, the current Fast Five. Those drivers separated by less than 0.7 of a second over this long, winding racetrack, 3.27 miles. And again, 16, 17 corners, whatever you want to call it. Final quarter, like turn number 17. A lot of the corners, A, B, C. So many intricacies on this racetrack. Again, time winding down. I'll look out to see when the checkered flag flies. Everybody in here, I think, getting this final circuit. Ho still on top. Giafoni goes to P3. Nicholas Giafoni goes to third with a 155.461. So the drivers all on a flyer. They'll see the checkered flag on the back part of the racetrack. We'll use the alternate timeline. So it's coming down the back straightaway. So this is it. Ethan Hoa, will he get his first career pole position in USF Juniors? There he is there, the Californian in the 68, using all the racetrack on the outside of 3. Right now, 200ths ahead of Jack Jeffers. Does Jeffers step it up here? Giafoni did. He found some pace to go quicker than Brienza. Right now, it's Ho, Jeffers, Giafoni, Brienza, and Armstrong top 5. Barker, Schouten, Taylor, Schwartz, and Lockhart top 10. Again, final circuit to see who comes away with the pole for race number 1. That second quick time, crucial as well. That could set the pole for race 2 and race 3. Although we may see grip levels come up throughout the day. If we do get the potential rain this afternoon, that would change everything as well. This is such a crucial session. Only 2 sets of race tires. Everybody using 1 set of tires here, I believe. I don't know that we saw anybody go to the second set. They're going to want to hold those tires for 3 15-lap races, 45 laps of racing here over Saturday and Sunday. Brienza goes up top. Ethan Hoa to second. Both Brienza and Ho identical 155.327s, but give it to Ethan Hoa, likely with the second fastest lap. So they all come across the line, and I think that could be it. Ethan Hoa, he and Brienza identical, 155.327. I don't know if the computer goes to the fourth decimal or it's the second quickest lap to set that. But as we have it on the track, Ethan Ho getting the pole position with identical times, 155.327. That'll be a USF Juniors first. I don't think we've had that before. Ho, pole, Brienza on the outside. Jeffers went quicker as well. How about 15 thousandths of a second separating first, second, and third? Less than 200ths of a second separate your top three drivers. And it's a first career pole position for the driver right there in the white DC Autosport number 68. Ethan Ho on the pole. The Californian over top of the Colorado driver, Joey Brienza. That's your front row. Jack Jeffers and point leader Nicholas Giafoni be row number 2. Ethan Barker and Quinn Armstrong row 4, or 3 rather, as Barker goes quicker on the final lap. Max Taylor and Eric Schouten 7th and 8th. Hudson Schwartz and Jimmy Lockhart 9th and 10th. Brady Goen, Lucas Facuri, Carson Eder, and Giovanni Cabrera round out the 14 drivers in the field. But that's going to be a nice drive back to the trailer for Ethan Ho, as he'll have to take the walk back to get the check as well from Cooper Tires. And the pole position photo, great job for Ethan Ho. 2 good laps at the end. And again, exactly the same lap time as Joey Brienza. That caps things off for qualifying. Caleb Gaffara, some final thoughts. You got a race coming here. You're going to start third inside of row number 2. Any strategy yet, or you just play it as it happens?
I'm just going to try to be patient, wait and see how the race goes down, and hopefully I can get a couple spots, and I'd love to win it.
Make sure you watch live timing for the Skip Barber race. We may even have that live as well. We'll let you know whether or not we're going to be able to go live in the Skip Barber YouTube channel. We'll fill you in on that. Watch our social media. We'll keep you updated. But again, Ethan Ho, tremendous job by him. 155.327. New track record for USF Juniors here at VIR as well. Ho, Brienza, Jeffers, Giafoni, and Barker, the top 5. And we will go racing this afternoon. Green flag at 4:10. Make sure you come back and join us, folks, on the USF Pro Championship presented by Cooper Tires YouTube channel or the mobile app. Thank you so much for tuning in, folks, on behalf of everyone from Anderson Promotions and Cooper Tires. My name's Rob Howden. Bye for now.